Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast that unites the worldwide fan base of Celtic. From the Amazon to Borneo, from Africa to Tokyo. Wherever you're watching from, you're part of A Celtic World. And yet again, we have 4 contributors, all in pretty different parts of the world, well, pretty different areas, but yet united by a single time zone. I'm in East Malaysia. Over in West Malaysia, we have David. How's it going?
Very well, thank you.
And just south of David, in the Lion City, the island state of Singapore, is Jerry. How's Jerry?
Champion.
Indeed you are. And also in the same time zone, a couple of hours south, a few hours south, in Western Australia, we have Paolo.
Evening all. Nice to be here again. Looking forward to a bit of chat and a bit of excitement. Turn the heat up ahead of Saturday.
I tell you, I mean, this is the last preview show of the year. I mean, the season is almost done. We have this show. We have the drink along. Whoever is fit and able to join that for the cup final. And then we have the cup final review on Monday. And then we're all going to put our feet up for a couple of sessions and then come back with the summer program, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. Hello to everyone in the chat. How are you all doing? Hope yous are well. This is what we're going to be talking about. Well, the season's over and the summer's coming, as I just said. So we're going to just reflect a little bit on the year we've had and what might be coming up. Then we'll do a little bit of cup final preview. Although I don't know how much there is to talk about, really. We know the team. We know what we're going to expect. So, and I don't know, we'll see how many minutes that fills. And then a little bit of Celtic socials. So that is the plan. So hello to one and all. Let's see who's in the chat saying hello. Oh, someone's in your part of the world. Pork Chop Express. Fellow flat earthers. Don't know if anyone in the panel is about to raise their hand to that, but certainly Red Scotland's a good old flat earther. Gives me grief for our logo. You know, why am I choosing that ridiculous globe thing in A Celtic World? Shouldn't be that at all. So, hello everyone. Am I the only one talking? I am so far. Let me ask a question to somebody. Before we get into the Celtic transfer activity, we haven't had Jerry on that much recently. So, Jerry, share with us your joy at how the season has unfolded just at the end there.
I think I joined the drink along about 4 hours in to share some of my joy at the weekend, Gav. So yeah, it was a great couple of weekends, 2-3 weekends in the trot, I guess. Had wonderful down the St Tim's down the Supporters Club last weekend. We had a party. I don't know if I certainly sent you guys some of the photographs. We got some new logos made up, jelly and ice cream logos. We had a whole bunch of those. We had stickers for everyone's hat. Everyone's kicking about with jelly and ice cream stickers on. We might get some T-shirts done because they would sell like hotcakes. I reckon the foundation would make a ton of money out of those. So yeah, I mean, obviously delighted. I think the show was on before. I said I thought we'd win by more than 6 points, so I was proven correct. Never had any doubt. I was never in question. We were always going to.
Did you say that? When did you say that?
I said it all season, Gav. That and 7-0 have been my two consistents.
Yeah, I mean, we've all said things that we then can look back on and go, see, I said that. But I was quite honest last week that I came out with a couple of things earlier in the season which turned out to be complete and utter horseshit. Did you have any predictions at the start of the season, Jerry, that turned out to be absolute nonsense? Certain players or anything?
Just that we'd win every game 7-0, so that didn't work out too well for me. So thankfully I don't bet. Although that is unsurprisingly, my guess at this cup final score this weekend as well. No, I to be honest, I guess like all of us, we were being serious. We all had our moments of nervousness throughout the course of the season. Thankfully, we prevailed. At the start of the season, I expected us to win the league at something of a canter. And over the Christmas period, I wasn't quite so sure anymore, but still, I had faith, kept the faith. That wasn't me that sneezed there.
This must have
No,
been
it's
someone
your
in the
friend
comments.
Gina, and she's just now doing. So, right, I'm
That's
going to
funny.
mute myself so that I can.
So you
You
cannot
can't-
finish your sentence.
Yeah, you can't
So no-
legislate
no-
for off-screen
No
sneezes.
real surprises. I think I think that, to be honest, my biggest surprise of the season has been the last 2 or 3 months in the form of James Forrest. That's been a very welcome, pleasant surprise, and in no small measure has he, amongst others, been responsible for getting us across the line. So I think if our wingers were fairly gash most of the season, I would say.
That's
but
a new turn
thankfully-
of praise, I think, for A Celtic World. This how come we haven't come across that word so far? Well
Gash.
done, Jerry.
Pleasantly surprised with James Forrest. Hopefully I'll get to shake his hand at some point over the weekend.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a bit more greater detail. The fact that you're going over to the game. Well, one thing we could mention is this. I hope there's no turbulence. Can you fill in the people on what that refers to, Jerry?
Yeah, I hope there's no turbulence as well. We're flying British Airways, so I'm sure British Airways won't have got some kind of mandate with the Sky Gods to say that they're not affected by turbulence. But yes, for those of you who haven't watched any news this week, a Singapore to London flight a couple of days ago dropped the best part of 2 kilometres and it hit some clear air turbulence, dropped a couple of kilometres in a couple of seconds, and very sadly someone passed away on the plane, but there was people with their heads stuck through the where the
Overhead
air masks
compartments.
fall down. So yeah, I don't know how long they were stuck. Their heads were stuck in there, but yeah, pretty terrifying, obviously, for them. And God rest his soul, the poor fellow that passed away.
He was like an older British guy, wasn't he?
A 74-year-old British man, who was on a
And that must
6-week
be
holiday.
Oh dear, that's a flight you've done a million times, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely, many times. So,
So
and
keep seatbelt
Yeah.
on is the message for your own safety and comfort.
no, absolutely. So, one of the guys that's travelling, Sean, who most of you know, Sally David and Gav know, he was saying, he says, sure. He says, we'll just have a couple of pints and a couple of whiskies at the airport. I'm like, yeah, sure, that'll do fine, Shawnee. I said, just keep your fucking seatbelt on.
Do you tend to keep your seatbelt on, Paul, when flying?
I do. In my older age, I've taken that advice to heart, and in this case, I'll be continuing to do so. So, yeah, I obviously have it reasonably loose. So you don't want it digging in, but even reasonably loose would keep you roughly in your chair. So, I'm a pretty comfortable flyer. I've done a lot of travel in my time. Mrs. not so much, and she's already, prior to this, was not keen on the long haul flight back to the UK at some point in the next 12-18 months. And as soon as she heard that news, she was like, nah, I'm not getting on a plane again. We're not doing that. I was like, it'll be fine. So yeah, it's obviously not idle advice given what happened there. If you'd had your seatbelt on even loosely, you wouldn't be having your napper through the upper echelons of an aeroplane. So yeah, not ideal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's enough of a public service announcement, I think, to all our dear listeners,
I think
viewers.
From what I heard, the next person that was most badly injured was some poor guy who'd gone for a shite, and he was sitting on the throne and hit the roof. So what a mess that might be. I hope he wasn't mid poo.
I hope he'd snapped it off by then.
Exactly.
Could have been making a rapid reappearance.
That is
wearing
grim.
it for a hat.
Well, look, let's turn our attention to some of the joy that we've had in the last few days. Joy on Trophy Day. Did you notice this fan was picked out by the cameraman? Celtic Trophy Day Celtic trophy lift on Sky Sports right now. Look at your man's haircut in the middle. What year are we in again?
Is that
It's
not Joe
2024,
Hart's
isn't it?
family? Is that not a member of Joe Hart's family? I think it's his.
That's what I'd heard.
brother.
Joe Hart's
Yeah.
family.
Is it? I thought he was just
Yeah.
picked out because of his ridiculous
No.
hair.
No, I
They
think
kept
it's a
going
family.
back
I think it's. Yeah, they
because
kept
of
going
that.
back specifically. I assume that, and I heard elsewhere that it was family member or something. So, yeah.
I thought I'd read that they were looking at the elderly gentleman to his right, who's some advocate or something.
So I
read.
saw comments about that as well, that he was some barrister.
Barrister,
Well
famous
known,
advocate, and yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, I immediately thought it was the young Goldilocks looking dude without the golden locks. You know what I mean?
Okay, that was
Brownie
interesting.
locks.
We asked more questions than answered there, I think. How about, did anyone pick up on Brendan talking about his musical choices? I have a little video to play on that. But and bearing in mind, Brendan's the same age as me, right? And grew up in the same part of the world as me. And I was really disappointed.
Thank God you're wearing better than him, Gav.
Indeed. His belt is Gucci, you know. But this is what he had to say.
I'm quite mixed, really. I wouldn't say there's a particular style that I listen to, but I love anything easy listening. I go back as far as Elvis and various other artists, Hall & Oates. They're just absolutely brilliant. Billy Joel. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty easy on music, and yeah, just anything that's easy listening.
Paul, your immediate reaction to that?
He should have just kept his mouth shut or lied. Like, how hard is it to say the Stone Roses, the Smiths, the Oasis? Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. Just even the Rolling Stones, the Who, and the Beatles would have been at least a bit more acceptable than fucking Hall & Oates. Is he for real? Middle of the road garbage. I'm not having it from the boss. That's nonsense. Absolute
That's a
rubbish.
disappointing answer. That's
It's
the
shit.
answer that somebody who doesn't like music gives.
Yeah, he's made it
Somebody
up.
just
It's
listens
not
to the radio.
Elvis. Fuck off.
I would have. I'm astonished you didn't say the Wolf Tones. I see someone else has just said that as well. But you would. I mean, come on, you should have been playing to the crowd there.
That's my conclusion. Doesn't like music. David, is that harsh?
Aye.
well,
Human.
it kind of sounds like what the answer a politician should give, but then you get the cringy answer, and everybody goes off the band when a politician says someone like the Smiths, like David Cameron did. So it's a politician's answer, isn't it? Someone who's drab, grey, and devoid of any personality.
Whoa, here she comes. Plunge McNugget loves a bit of Hall & Oates. Paul,
He loves
you
a bit of
crap.
man eating. Not for me, thank you.
Those two are in court against each other, aren't they, Hall & Oates?
Are they?
You know, their partnership. Apparently, Oates sold the rights to his half of all of their work to, somebody else, the way aging artists tend to do. Difficult when you're in a part of a duet or a duo.
Yeah, I mean, what they sell every second word or something? I mean,
Exactly. Or just the bass line and him looking like a porn star from 1970s. Let's just enjoy some more funny wee things here. Did you see this? I don't know if everyone's aware of the news, but the fact that Atalanta just won the UEFA Cup, what does that mean, David?
That's a bit of a wind up. That's only half the story, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the half the story. But given that was the result, it meant that Rangers would be unseeded in the Champions League qualifiers. However, if you go
That's
and read the
pish.
small print, it's not the case.
The guy that
No.
put it on. So the Parkhead Faithful picked it up, but the guy who posted it initially, I think, or maybe it is this guy. I thought it was another guy that posted it, and they've just shared it on another share, like a Celtic group. Was basically trying to wind them up. It's a bit of an attempt to get backlash from the other side of the city. There's a massive convoluted story about what it means. It may make their pathway mildly harder, but not massively, because it did mean that they might Benfica would potentially come back into their side of the draw, but then there's another reason that Benfica are almost certainly likely not to be on their side of the draw. So it's kind of as you were to some degree. It will have an impact on a few other things. The other one, I think Bruges winning their league will make a bit of difference as well. So they're 1 point from the title. I think they need a draw in the last game of the season, and they'll win the title. So that will be helpful to the Huns as well. But to be honest, yeah, it's good to try and get a rise out of them, but it just gets a bit convoluted.
I don't know if the BBC's miles out on that, because I'm just looking at it just now and it says Union SG are on 70 points, Anderlecht on 63, Antwerp 52, Club Bruges 51.
Maybe it's to do with where Bruges end up. Then they need 1 point to be in.
Well, I think
qualifying.
I think if Bruges, yes. So if they qualify, if they're in the top 5, then I think that's probably where it's at. Looking at the table, because Ghent are on the same amount of Genk, confusingly, and Ghent are on the same amount of points as them. They're all on 47, and yeah. So anyway,
I might play into what ends up Hearts' qualification or whatever. There's a guy I don't know if you've seen him, is he called Scotland's Coefficient or something like that, on Twitter, and he provides a ton of information on this kind of stuff to a ridiculous degree. So yeah, if you want to know exactly what's going on, he's your man. But yeah, I think it's basically a wind up, Gav, as far as I can go.
Okay, well, speaking of winding up the Rangers, I've got a little video here just for us to enjoy. You'll see by who it's by. I've included them in the screen. So let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy a couple of minutes of this stuff.
To Chris, Rangers have already won it, so he makes Rangers favourites, and I mean it's theirs to lose, isn't it?
Chris?
Not sure where I said that, but however, yeah, I do expect Rangers to win the league. But
can you see us now? Can you see us now? Aye, you can see us now.
Yeah! Can you see us now? Yeah! Can you see us now? Yeah!
What a win it is for them. It draws in St Johnstone, Aberdeen into that playoff mix now. It's going to be an interesting end to the season, but composure on the ball, not looking like.
I mean, I think when you're in a title race, you need to win games of football. That's just a fact. Rangers. I mean, you can put all them in the bin now.
What's going on in there? A bit of passion, a bit of fight, Tav. You've been here for years. What? We'll tell them that, Tav. You're the captain. A bit of speed. What? We're 7 points behind, Tav. How many years have we been behind? How many years? A bit of passion, a bit of fight. What? A bit of passion, a bit of fight, Tav. This is Rangers. You're a Hall of Famer.
18 days ago, Rangers were 2 points clear at the top. Now they are 3 points behind Celtic. Philip Clement's team are losing their way in the race for the title. 3 games without a win is bad timing, awful timing, wretched timing for Rangers. And once again, words at their best. They couldn't find a way to go. There wasn't really that much of a reaction to the weekend defeat at Ross County, and Dundee's shit that they put in has secured them a draw and showed why they deserve to be in the top 6. This is another major setback for Philip Clement and Rangers.
Certainly, as you see that the time of the season to hit this kind of run is just the worst time for Philip Clement and his team.
I'm sick every season, Ox, watching that same crap. We hand the Rattlers the league every single year. There's not one of them's got one bit of fight. And I'm telling you, Ox, I'm up to it. If I can stop swearing today, it'll be a good thing, I'll tell you, man. They would drive you to drink, man, if you weren't already there. I know, if you could give me these 6 halves right now, Ox, I'd down them in a wanny. It's just as well it's only 3:30 in the afternoon here at Ox, because I'd be better than that drink by now, I'll tell you.
I fucking hate this team. I fucking hate this team.
So do we. So there you go. We're on the same page.
We have one thing in common. One thing in common with that guy.
Can't get enough of that stuff. I mean, that's the picture of the end of their season. Delightful, Jerry, eh?
it actually has been the most hilarious end to a season for many seasons. I actually think we've had more hilarity at their expense than probably since the old team passed away. Just the amount of, I mean, you've got to take a day off work, at least one day a week, just so you can laugh all day at all the stuff that's been posted. It's been magnificent, absolutely magnificent, and hopefully we'll, hopefully I know we're going to talk about the final, but hopefully we give them an absolute pelting at the weekend, and they can all walk away at half time and beat their wives up or do whatever they do.
Yeah, there's a fair chance of some more funny clips doing the rounds, a week from now, whatever, or less than a few days from now. Paul, you sent me something on WhatsApp, or you shared it with the group. This was Old Firm Facts, which had a bunch of sort of funny stills and videos looking back at the whole SPFL season, or Scottish League season, really. So I picked a few of those just to give us a wee titter. It's not all Celtic Rangers stuff. Old Firm Facts. The first one's just a picture of the state of Boydie's face compared to the other two. Should I make that full screen? Let's make it full screen. Look at this one. What's funny about that? Two pairs of glasses on.
And he still can't see them coming.
Who is that? What team's that? Does anyone know? Arbroath against
Dundee United.
Aye, would have been. Green with their away kit with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the faces on this one. Look at the faces. It's the wrong way round. It's the fans that are supposed to be squealing with delight. And the player looks nonplussed. Look at the state of that.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's
David.
happy because he's gone at the end of the season.
Look at the faces on those three. That is quality. Try to justify Scottish football to folk down south, then you see a photo of Stephen Naismith getting interviewed after the game on a broken phone with an orange peel wrapped around it.
That was a fucking classic.
Look at that.
It's probably Hearts TV.
That's hilarious. A couple of funny misspellings here. Excellent chance for Lewis Milne, but his shit is cleared off the line. And then Jamie Mills is sent off for a pish on a Petershill player. Oh, this is Ian Crocker. I won't read this one, but he obviously left his phone sitting about halfway through a message or something. And somebody else grabbed it. So that's pretty good. There's loads of these funny things here. Look at this. Show racism, the red card. No, I think it's more of a yellow, he says.
Good old Malcolm.
Yeah, that's quite a funny one. Anyway, so a fun season has been had by all, it's fair to say. And
you're getting some grief for using the defunct phrase for the derby.
He didn't. All he did was read the title of what the Twitter tweet was. It was called Old Firm Facts.
Yeah, it's called at Glasgow Derby Facts. Huh?
Yeah,
against the Maggie Mob Facts. I can't say that. That's not that person's handle. Huh?
It's actually a really good. That's been a key contributor on Twitter for quite a number of years, and yeah, sort of probably takes the piss out of all angles of Scottish football in reasonably equal measure. But obviously, there's a fair bit more to laugh at with them, so they probably do get a heavy weighting against them.
Definitely. So, change of tack. Euros. David, how excited are you by the Euros? And what do you think about the team that came out?
I saw the team, but I wasn't particularly familiar with everybody in that team. But everybody talks about it as being a reasonably strong team. I guess by my reaction, I'm not that fussed about it. I don't look beyond Celtic very much. Maybe that means I'm not a true Celtic fan, a true football fan, but I don't think so. I don't get that excited about it. Maybe in the latter stages, but I don't know.
Come on. international football. Your country's going. It's exciting. The Tartan Army. Oh, imagine.
I don't know. No, I can't get that. Paul probably will. Paul, you're more into a rounded football fan than I ever am. You look beyond Celtic.
What are you saying about Paul's shape there?
No,
I'm slightly rounder than Adel once upon a time, but no, obviously Celtic first at all times. But given the years that we've, I'm old enough to remember growing up in Scotland, being a fixture at these things. And I remember I was at uni in '98 when we went to the France World Cup, and a few of us sort of said, "Oh, will we try and get over and just be there for the atmosphere? It's only over there." And we all went, "Oh no, we're a bit skint. We're students. We'll be working by the time the next one comes. We can go to the next one." Little did we realise that would be 30 years down the track. So yeah, I'm reasonably excited as you can be about international football. You know, the breaks during the season are pretty, annoying and tedious, but big competition. I think it's the disappointing thing for Scotland is that some key players are injured and the squad depth is a little bit light, as that squad announcement shows. 28 players selected. The final squad will be 26. So 2 will be dropped out of that. I reckon there's 4 goalies, so one of them will go in. So Liam Kelly, I hear, linked to Rangers. He's likely to drop out, so they'll probably take Clark Gordon and Gunn. And then there are a number of players that could potentially be dropping out. But you would think the reasonably surprising inclusion of Ryan Jack, who hasn't kicked a ball in anger in months, for a pretty shite team, somehow has been selected when we've got a pretty strong midfield. So those would be the 2 I'd expect to drop out. With a few players injured, obviously it's a blow that Hickey's out. It's a blow that Ferguson's out. Obviously Ralston's come in. He's got a pretty good chance of starting, actually, almost, because we haven't really got a Patterson's injured as well. So he'll play 3-5. Will he play 3-5-2 or 3-4-5-1 maybe? So I don't know. We'll see. But I think if we get the first, the strongest 11 out, we'll give teams a game. Hopefully we can get a few results. When it was first announced, I think people were quite excited to have Germany in the first game. Obviously, the hosts, massive game, maybe catch them cold. I think probably confidence has leaked a bit. Germany were pretty poor when their draw was made, but by now they've started to pick up some form. Probably the most excitement announcement, which whether how much game time he gets is another story. But Ben Doak getting selected is one that a lot of people were calling for. And when the squads went to the bigger numbers of 26, there's room for a wild card. And that's what he is. He's obviously been injured. He hasn't played much football either. He's only 18. He's never been capped. But he's an exciting prospect. And, I don't think it's a risk or a gamble to take him. Why not have him in the squad? And if he gets some minutes, he could cause some mayhem. So yeah, I'm as excited as you can be about these type of things. It's not Celtic, but it'll be the big tournaments are always great. Obviously the hope is we do decent. Punch above our weight, and as long as England don't win, everybody will be happy, right?
The game
I'd be definitely cheering for Scotland.
Game times are a challenge. What times are the games on?
It'll in these things, the big tournaments, you usually get 2 or 3 games in the first sort of stages. So they'll be on from mid-afternoon to evening. So we'll be talking reasonably late night here, 9-10 o'clock probably kickoffs initially, right through to 3 in the morning, I would guess.
Yeah, we can probably comfortably do all the first games. Certainly in those opening rounds, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I was at France '98 at the Scotland-Brazil game. That was momentous, and what a night we had out in the town. After that, I'll tell you about it sometime because it's a long story. We could do 2 shows just on the hilarity that we had that night. But we met, and we walked just very quickly. We walked into. There was more Celtic fans travelled to watch that tournament, I think, than I'd ever travelled to watch a Scottish football team play in a World Cup. And Johnny Collins was in that side, and we walked into a bar that was absolutely full, Scots people everywhere, and I started singing One Johnny Collins. There's only one Johnny Collins, and about a third of the pub just immediately fucked off. So the next song I sang was "Hail, Hail, the Celts Were Here," and everyone's up on the table singing "Hail, Hail, the Celts Are Here." So that was awesome.
Very good. And correct me if I'm wrong, but have we not just gone from like one Celtic representative to 4 suddenly in the last gasp opportunity?
I think we were always going to have 2.
Was Taylor
I
always
think
in there?
we're always going to have Taylor. We're always going to have
Taylor
Taylor.
and
We're always going to
McGregor
have Callum.
always been,
But yeah, James Forrest and Tony Ralston. Very pleased for both of them. And I mean, again, we are limited. Scotland as a team, we are limited up front. So wouldn't be surprised to see James Forrest getting some game time as well. And I agree, Ben Doak would be. Why not give the kid a run?
Why not, indeed? And why not keep it civil in the comments, everyone? Don't want to have to boot anyone just at the end of the season for ad hominem attacks. So just wind it back in there, please. If you're tempted to say anything nasty to any of the contributors or indeed any of the people in chat, that would be much appreciated. All righty then. So somebody mentioned earlier on that the Euros, I think it was Monty, the Euros are going to be a good distraction over the summer because it's going to be so boring. Well, it's not going to be boring on A Celtic World. After we take our little break, we're going to come back and the plan is to have one show per week every Thursday, and we'll be doing interesting features on every show. We're not going to waste your time talking about speculation about players that aren't going to join us in a million years. There's plenty of channels do that. But we're going to have, a few CSCs on. David, we're talking about doing that special show on Celtic TV and whether Celtic are harnessing their worldwide fan base with the help of an expert in sports marketing, friend of yours.
Yeah.
And we might have a few special guests on as well. So there'll still be some interesting stuff just once a week. So it's not going to be terribly boring. I personally find during the off season when everyone is just talking about players and, here's 10 goalkeepers that we might sign, I just throw the hands up and give up, even trying to watch stuff because it's just all the same and nothing ever comes of it. So if you're feeling that way, know that you've still got a home at A Celtic World over the barren months of summer. You like that, Paul?
Yep, I thought part of the show was going to be reacting to the early speculation, but apparently not. I thought you tippled that along in the lead
in the notes.
You did. But...
Well, I was talking about the summer. Yeah, well, transfer activity that we know is going to happen is more like players leaving, I suspect, rather than players coming in. Well, we can talk about Matt O'Reilly leaving seems to be the one that is definitely going to happen. So I don't think that's random speculation. What do you make, David, of the numbers that have reportedly been put out there that Celtic are looking for?
Well, if that number is coming from Celtic, then I'm delighted. But whether or not that figure will ever be realistically paid in Scotland, I don't know. Because I think a lot of it is outside of our control. So it's Matt O'Reilly, a 50 million player. He certainly is in this day and age compared to what goes on in other leagues in Europe, in England, and certainly in Saudi Arabia. But my doubt is this. It's a perception outside of Scotland, and I think this is where the board will play as hard as they possibly can. And I believe in the past, with Loyal's influence, we've missed out on deals because he's gone too hard on the deal. So I think what we'll get is 35 million, and that's a lot, right, for a player from Celtic, given that we play in the Scottish League. And I think that is the limiting factor, not because Matt O'Reilly's not worth much more than that.
That's all very reasonable. Does anyone want to disagree strongly with that?
I just think 35 would be nice, but I'd be very surprised if we achieve that. I think we've got to push past 25. 25 mil's been this kind of glass ceiling we've dealt with for a while. And Matt O'Reilly, with everything going around with his performances, he'll be at the Euros. the amount of time left on his contract, the fact that he'll count as locally trained if he goes to England, the opportunities there to play hardball. Now, I'm pretty confident that there's been a conversation between Brendan Rodgers, senior management, and Matt O'Reilly that when the Atletico bid came in January, that it was, knuckle down, finish the season, get these 2 trophies in the bag, and then, the right offer comes in and you'll be allowed to leave. We've got to ask for something like 50 to get anywhere close to 30, 35. So the club, if that is coming out of the club, that's the right strategy. Pump up, if you start at 30, you're not going to get any higher than 30, are you? So, and you'd be lucky to get that. So you've got to start higher and see where we go. 30 would be a good result. Like I said, it would break that glass ceiling. And then we'll be in a position to ask for at least that for key assets in future. And it resets the bar. So I'd love to see us get to 35. I think that is the absolute top whack that may be possible. I think realistically 30 is probably where we will land if we've done a decent job in negotiating. The only other thing that could happen is he could find his way into starting lineup for Denmark and have an absolute blinder, and then after that you probably would be pushing up to 35 and maybe beyond, especially if you can get a few suitors in a bidding war. If that's not too tabloidy for you.
A few soapy suitors. I don't want a few of them.
Why have we perked off the Dundee? That's a bit weird.
So I just want to add something on Matt O'Reilly. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that he may stay another season.
Yeah, I was just keeping quiet because that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean,
yes, well, Jerry, you have a hotline to his parents. His dad loves the limelight. He's a close personal friend of yours.
Yeah, well, I'll see if I can get a photo. I'll see if I can get him with a new flag that we've got on me when I see the O'Reillys at the weekend, Matt. So, Gav, sorry. Yeah, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that he will stay and have a crack at the Champions League, because a whole bunch of the clubs that he's been linked with will not have. He won't have that opportunity, and I mean he can always go to a club that aren't in the top 5 in a league somewhere in the world, and do that down the track. So and I also think that if he does go, then I think we'll get upwards of 30 million for him, and I'm pretty sure. Well, I would like to see us going. Cough up the 6 million for young Paulo, because I think he's got the makings. He's got the makings to be every bit as good as Matt O'Reilly. He's only 21, the kid, right? So,
yeah, I think we've got to sell him this window. I think this is the peak time for, in terms of left on his contract and everything else, that we've got to sell him now, and I don't think the board will be able to resist. I think a top 5 club in one of the top 5 leagues will come in for him, and that'll be enough for him to go. And fair play if it is. We've got to sell these players, these young players that come and perform and are excellent, clearly excellent footballers with a career at richer and bigger leagues. We've got to let them go at the right time, because that shows the pathway to other players coming behind them. And you want to replicate that. We want to be able to attract the best youth talent that knows we've got competitive football. We'll win stuff early in our career. We'll be in the shop window, and then we'll go to a top 5 club in a top 5 league. That's got to be what we're aiming for. So I think he's got to go. As much as I would love to see him stay, I think from a practical point of view, it's the peak time to cash in.
I think if we get the right offer, he'll go. No doubt about it. But I do think that'll be north of 30 million.
I agree. Yeah, and that's absolutely.
I agree with that as well.
You're on mute. Yeah. But yeah, that's spot on. There's no way any board at Celtic ever will reject the £35 million offer for any of our players. So yeah,
there's probably no team in the world that wouldn't accept a 25% hike on the most expensive player they'd ever sold if someone came in to buy them. Paul, I would say so.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And how much are we looking forward to the draw for the Champions League? Speaking of big money, I mean, there's plenty of money to be had there. Don't know if you saw Hamish's breakdown, which he did, of possible income streams from the Champions League based on, the kind of results we might get and where we might finish in that table. Fascinating to watch that, though, to see how the millions just stack up.
And what
pretty exciting. But from a
what were they? What were I didn't see it. So what were they?
Yeah,
What was the?
we'll check it out on Celtic AM.
Okay.
There's various. It's quite a complicated system. You get a certain amount of money for qualifying, a certain amount of money for your results.
Every point gives you extra cash. And then if you get in the top 24 of the 36, you're guaranteed more football.
And you've got 4 home games as well, right? So you're selling you've
more
got
tickets.
match day receipts and television receipts and all your blah blah blah. So yeah, that's it's going to. I mean, it's fantastic to be in a format where you've got 8 games against 8 teams and 4 of them at home. I mean, it's just
that's the bit I'm looking forward to most, is seeing a list of 8 teams we're going to be playing this year. How awesome is that?
Yeah, that's great. I think the other thing that's really good is that we've got, it doesn't really matter what pot we're in. I still see journalists reporting that, this result will get this team into pot 1 and this team. It doesn't matter flying fuck which pot you're in. You could draw the same 8 teams if you're in pot 1 and as you could draw if you're in pot 4. And there still seems to be amateur journalists out there that don't seem to get their head around that. We could draw an absolute nightmare, 8 teams, 2 from every pot. You could end up with a shocker of a draw. You could be loaded. You could actually get quite a generous draw across all pots, as is law of averages. It'll probably land somewhere in between, but it's exciting that you're not, you are playing 8 teams. There's not that, we've played a lot of the same kind of teams a lot down the years. And the chances of mixing it up are obviously much more likely with 8 different ties. I guess the kind of luck of the draw is who your 4 home games are against versus who your 4 away games against. Home should be an advantage, but you might get drawn against. I assume it's 1 from each pot at home and 1 from each pot away, but I don't know that for sure. I'm sort of guessing at that, but that would seem to be logical. So yeah, you'd kind of want to get your weaker teams from some of the pots in the home games. Give yourself a fighting chance. But yeah, the 60 million figure, I think, is probably a mix, like a kind of rounded figure mix of your various income streams from UEFA TV money, match day money, etc. But so I think you'd be struggling to get much less than 60 million, even if you didn't do much in the tournament. But I think the upper limit could be a lot higher depending on how well we do. But we'll definitely need to invest before we get to that point.
Yeah, and 24 is going to be the magic number, isn't it? That's what we're going for. We're going for 24th. Yeah. Please, let's just get into 24th. It's going to be great fun. Can't wait. It's going to be really exciting.
It's going to be fun. Fabulous. I mean, it's the most exciting. I mean, certainly the most exciting thing that's happened in Europe for a long time. And going back to the point that you're making about, and I totally agree about. We are a club that need to go and bring young talent, and hopefully the best young talent. But I mean, again, that expanded. That you've got at a minimum 8 games in Europe, and you're joining a club that will have 8 games in Europe. That starts to become a fair chunk of your season that you're going to be playing Champions League football, right? So I mean, again, it's a big. I think it'll be a big draw card for players coming to play at Celtic. Hopefully, it will.
Well, at least we're guaranteed a European football after Christmas, which has been hard to come by round our way. But I think the last 2 games of the 8 are in January. So nailed it.
What a joy it is that we can sit and laugh about it all, because we are the ones that are in the Champions League next year, this season. Because it was looking at times, David, that wasn't going to be the case, and we were going to be crying at our cornflakes.
It was never in doubt, Gav. Never in doubt.
And you imagine they were doing all this and talking about the pots and all this, and we're going to have 8 teams, hey, and it's all with a blue background. That would be absolutely heartbreaking.
Well, that was far more articulate than anything I've seen on their fan media, so I doubt it would have sounded like
exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Very good. Okay.
I think Elsh will probably send you that after 3.5 hours of the drink along at the weekend.
That's their default. That's their default setting, isn't it?
That's their start position. Yeah.
Well, the drink along is a law unto itself on them. the flagship magazine show, or whatever you want to call it, what we do on a Monday and Thursday, we're relatively, we're sober, relatively sober, and it's a relatively sober approach. But, the drink along is just purposeful mayhem, isn't it? It's talk whatever kind of crap you want.
Barely organized chaos is how I would.
It's not organized at all. It's just like being down the pub. You wake up the next day and you swear you were down the pub talking absolute nonsense. And, David, isn't that your take on it? Did you not wake up the next morning?
I kind of don't even remember leaving the show on Saturday.
You surprised me.
I can't even remember.
If you remember the second half.
I had some Jim Beam left, I think, so I didn't drink the entire bottle. So, and I'd had a couple of mojitos before I even got on the show.
Yeah, you were the first to stop making sense, I have to point out. I did point out. There was a time where we all sort of looked at each other and said, does anybody have an idea what David's talking
about? No. So that's okay.
At least Gina was happy. He's locked in his wee room and he's no bothering her.
That's not what happened. They were in a hotel room and she was there saying, would you stop, get off that bloody conversation and come to bed or something?
That's why they're
blathering away to us.
He was on a promise and he's getting smashed on chatting to us idiots. That's just daft.
So there we are.
Well,
but
joining us for this one will be Kaiser, and he's going to unveil his new haircut. Do you remember? Initially, he said he was going to get the Bernabeu.
Oh, is he not doing it? Is he not doing the Bernabeu?
No, he's gone for the Gav cut to celebrate Celtic success. So
I thought he was doing the Gav cut as a follow up to the Bernabeu, because you're not going to retain that, are you?
No, you're not going to retain it. It'll be difficult to do, though.
Disappointing if he's not followed through in that. That's a poor show.
Well, he's at least shaved his head, so we look forward to seeing that. All right, so the watch along, watch out for it. We'll be going live 5 minutes, 10 minutes before kickoff. Don't know who's going to be there yet. Dano, I think, is going to be running the show. Dano and Kaiser. I'll drop in maybe a bit here and there. Depends how much I can watch the game, because I want to watch the game,
I'll be the supporters club, so if I dial in, it'll be similar to last time. Absolutely smashed and making shouty and loud, and probably won't be able to hear anything coming back the other way. But no promises from my side.
I might try and dial in. Let's see how we go.
That would be amazing, because you, as we mentioned earlier, Jerry, you're going to the game. Tell us about you going to the game.
I am. I'm going to the game. So on a plane.
Thanks. Let's move on.
On a plane in about 3 hours. So my son's on the same said plane on his way to Singapore just now. So I'm going to pick him up on the flight. Sean, another boy from the supporters club, coming. My brother-in-law going to the game. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Obviously, it's the first time Luke will have been at a Celtic Rangers game where there's opposing fans. So he's Luke being my son. So yeah, really excited, really looking forward to it. Very confident, obviously. I have no fear at all. I think we'll absolutely pummel them. And then on the Sunday, the Legends game's on Sunday, so Celtic against Dortmund. So we're in the main stand for that game. So Monty, I actually had a spare ticket up until about an hour and a half ago, and I gave it away to my brother-in-law. So
you walking from the green?
I think we'll go to Heritage before, and we'll walk from there. I think so. We'll be in. I think the plan is we land at 10:30 on Friday morning. We'll go and dump the shit at the hotel, and then get along to Gracie's for a few swallows there. Then
you seeing Matt McGlone?
I'm Matt McGlone at Ginty's late afternoon, and then there's a whole bunch of boys coming in. We've got a whole bunch of ex-Singapore Celtic Supporters Club guys who are back in Scotland, going to come and meet us for a few beers. Nice. So I'm really looking forward to it.
You've got some choice tickets, courtesy of the foundation or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So God bless them, the foundation. My friends at foundation had pinged us and asked us if we wanted tickets for the Legends game, which we said yes. So we're in we're in the Jockstein in the director's box and back in the Jockstein afterwards on Sunday. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as well. Hopefully we'll get some. Hopefully we'll get to meet a bunch of the team. There's some legends obviously in that Celtic team.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So what are we expecting for the game, David? I preface this by saying there's not much we can talk about. We know the lineup. We know what we want to see. Doesn't matter who they play. They still don't know what formation, what players. So we're just going to go out and do the business under Brendan's calm, assured management.
So I think we know the team, that's for sure, because half of them are being rested at the weekend. So that's we know certainly half of the team are being left out. So you could get no bigger clue as to what the team that was going out at the weekend. Brendan has, in particular, Brendan knows how to beat them, and I've been a bit of a vocal critic of his through this season many times, and I did so. So
leather on Willow, old boy.
So but against them, he knows what to do. He doesn't lose against them.
Against them, well, he doesn't lose at Hampden. Just end of
He
story.
doesn't lose at Hampden.
Doesn't lose at Hampden. So
I think he has, in particular, found a way on form of this team. So everybody's fit, ready to play. They're on a high. The team, they are not. They are on a kind of fit of depression at the moment. Clermont has been found out, and I think very wanting. I think a lot of their players are further off. I don't think there's any money left for them. They've certainly missed out on a huge amount of money. So the gulf in where we are in terms of being able to celebrate, look forward to this. And I think, I don't want to jinx anything, I think they're in for a doing. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I said prior to the other game, are we at risk of being too confident going in here because everything's pointing in the right direction? And, we never seem to give them a doing. It's always tighter than we want. Paul, what are you expecting in terms of a victory, the comfortable victory, difficult, hard-fought victory, inability to put them away? What?
Oh, that's possible. So I was just tickled by John Clement's comment just there.
Yes, so was I.
Yeah. So just in relation to David's and his crickets. Well, I mean, we touched on this briefly on Mondays, but I think I agree with it. There is a possibility of them getting a doing, although everything else points to it being a relatively close game based on sort of how they've gone throughout the season. But we are the form team. We've come on to a bit of form. If Matt O'Reilly took that penalty away in the last game, we'd have beaten him by 4 or 5, potentially more. So that was very close to happening last time. It's absolutely possible it can happen again. It's a good point David makes about just general the mood in the camp, especially their side. Like, their manager has already been out multiple times in post-match conferences, running up to a cup final, saying there'll be big changes over the course of the season. Lots of players will be moving on. Like, I don't understand how that's supposed to be, get you fired up if you go that, you're probably out the door. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. That team doesn't seem to have a whole lot. Like, certain players might be fired up by, like, Joe Hart will be the most fired up player on the pitch because it's his last ever game and he knows he's done after it. And so you would, if you had the misfortune to be a Rangers supporter, you're possibly hoping that some of these no-hopers that have been hanging around for years not winning things can somehow muster a last hurrah and sign off with something positive. I just can't see it, to be honest. Brendan Rodgers' record's amazing against them. We're in form. Our best team will be on the pitch that's available. We've hit form and we're peaked at the right time. I think it will be more comfortable than one. And, if things go well and the refs don't, make weird decisions, I could see us winning by a few. And certainly hope that's the case. I think it's, we've been threatening for it all to click for a while, and it would be brilliant if the last game of the season is when it happens. So I think we'll be bang up for it. I think we'll come flying out the traps, and if we can get another early goal against them, it could be a long afternoon for for them lot, and you might see one end of Hampden rather empty come the end.
Well, hopefully they're not on the pitch. No, that's always a concern. I've forgiven them of doing so. I think we'll smash them. Very confident. Very confident.
7-0, Jerry. 7-0.
7-0. 7-0.
Tony is watching from Northern Thailand. Sawadee Kap. Wonder where you are. Chiang Mai. Nong Khai.
Pai.
Udon. Who knows?
Beautiful part of the world. Spent a little bit of time up there.
It is indeed. All right. So, do we want to do some score predictions? Or before we do, why don't you think about your score predictions? We mentioned the drink along earlier. Dano's probably going to be hosting that. And in a very unexpected marriage of Korea, Dano's in South Korea, an unexpected marriage of North Korea and Irish songs. I came across this, which I'll play for you, which is quite amusing. Listen out for this. There's a delegation from North Korea in Ireland. No
Just
words.
when you think you've seen, just when you think you've seen it all. Jesus.
Yeah. That's very funny, though. Warms the cockle, says Henrik McLarson. Indeed it does. Oops. All right. Okay, so score predictions, David?
6-1.
6-1. No joking.
No.
Oh, God. You're
I
making
called
me
it right on
anxious now.
Saturday and I was steaming.
Did
I
you?
said 3-2. Yes, I did.
Uh-huh. Very good. Okay, who wants to go next? Paul?
3-0.
3-0. Okay. Yeah, keep talking while I'm putting things up. I'm trying to slow you down while I load other things here. So tell us who's going to score.
Kyogo always scores against them, doesn't he? So maybe Kyogo with the opener. Maybe one from Matty. Maybe Big Adam to round it off the
O'Reilly
bench.
has to score, I would have thought, on his last ever game in a Celtic shirt. The pain. Oh, no, Jerry's going to talk him around. Jerry, your score.
Yeah, I'll talk him round. Don't worry. 7-0.
7-0 again.
7-0. We'll be 4-0 up at half time. I think in the first half, Kyogo will score twice. Mattarelli will score once, and I think if James Forrest starts, he'll score. I think we'll get a penalty in the second half, and we'll let Joe Hart take it, and he'll score as well.
That's another sort of Santa moment, isn't it? Letting Joe Hart take a penalty.
Yeah,
it would be brilliant. Imagine being 5-0 up and then getting a penalty and Big Joe Hart traipsing up the other end and smashing it. Like
that'd be great.
Be brilliant.
And the boys too. I mean, the boys. That penalty when he hit the post, but against Aberdeen. But the boys say they've never seen him miss a penalty in his life. He's one of the best penalty takers in the team.
Yeah.
7-0, Gav.
7-0. All right, what am I going to go for after that? Are they going to score? Yeah, they might nick one. I'm going to go 4-1. That's my score. 4-4-2. That's a footballing number. It's also the number of people watching live that I can see on my screen. That's pretty healthy.
Nice.
Hello, everyone.
Wow, a lot of people from the Kuala Lumpur CSC. David?
Well, I did sort of distribute it out, so that's fantastic if there is.
Wow, you're making an amazing contribution tonight. Thank you. You and all your followers on Twitter. Very good. All right. A few little social media things to go through here. This is a bit dull, this top photograph, but tell us a story behind this, Jerry.
I thought you didn't want me to tell the story, but I will tell you the story. So we've got Brian Chalky McClare coming to the supporters club to watch the game at the weekend. He sent me I run the Twitter and the Facebook accounts for the supporters club, and I got an invite through from Brian Chalky McClare, a friend invite, and I had one other friend. I went, fuck that, someone's taking the piss. And anyway, I got a message from him and his girlfriend, Kirsten Thompson, I think her name is, saying that he's going to be in town. So he sent me a video saying he's going to be in town. Can you come to the game? So hopefully he's not watching this, and hopefully she's not watching this, because the boys have gone out and bought 30. If you've seen Brian McClare recently, he's got a big beard. It was meant to be secret, but you did ask. So the boys have bought 30. The boys have bought 30 of those. So when Chalky turns up on Saturday, there's going to be 30 guys with white beards going, welcome.
And this is also you, obviously.
That was us last weekend with our new just can't get enough jelly and ice cream Singtimes party, and the pub put on 40 plates of green and gold or green and orange jelly and ice cream for us. So we've
polished it off already there by the looks of it.
We have.
Is that your third bowl, Jerry?
That was my 14th pint and first bowl. So I didn't really need the calories from the ice cream and jelly. The Guinness was
adequate.
More than adequate.
Paul, this is you.
Yeah, this is Tam Selleck's son up to his usual nonsense. So Steve's obviously Stevie Clark. Now Ryan Jack. This is a famous sort of still from Ant and Dec. Or wrong way around actually, Dec and Ant. Oh no, Ant and Dec is right around. So I've got them, but I've got them back to front. Ant and Dec. It is Ant and Dec. They always sit in the right order. And yeah, just they've got this show where they get people to do daft stuff, and obviously that's the joke that Stevie Clark is doing something extremely daft by. It is a. I know we've touched on it, but it's extremely weird. I can only assume that he's been selected to appease that fan base, and he's going to get dumped unceremoniously before the final squad. But it's a weird one. Given football he's played.
It'd be hilarious if him and Kelly get dumped, and I think they will. So.
That's my expectation, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like midfield's one of the places where we do have good quality depth, and even if he was playing, he's shite. So yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one, really.
And I just wanted to show Warsaw's stadium. This is a football stadium, National Stadium of Poland. This is in Warsaw, just to show you what can be done. I saw someone in the comments earlier on saying, with all this money, isn't it time Celtic Park got a bit of a revamp? They removed those obstructive pillars and things like that. This is pretty amazing to me. This is the retractable roof of the stadium in Warsaw. And see the way what's left kind of covers most of the crowd anyway from the rain. But the rain can fall on the pitch. Look at that. Not an obstructive pole in sight. And that's strange because it's Warsaw.
Plenty of poles in there on a match day though.
Yes.
Got in there before you did. So there you go. That's a few nice little fun things from the internet. So this is the last preview show of the year. The game is this weekend. Very exciting. We're doing the drink along. Watch out for that. Join us if you want some company. You want to hear people talking absolute tripe and getting progressively more hammered. 4 hours and 20 minutes we went for, David. Did you know that?
Well, can't.
Who was still on when I joined? You were still on, Gav. Who else was on?
Me and
Brian. Was it Ian Brian?
Yeah, me and Brian.
Ian Brian. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just wrapping it up, and then suddenly you appeared. It was like, come on, let's have another. Oh, Jesus. Good old fun.
Monty's asking when's the drink along. The drink along is when the match goes out live, so it'll kick off 5-10 minutes before kickoff on Saturday, and we'll go probably significantly past the final whistle, particularly if there's a positive result for us.
It will. And I think we're all expecting a positive result. So come on, let's do this. Let's go out in a blaze of glory. That's the name of this show.
Parkhead Boy must have missed the start of the show as well.
One show a week in the summer, Parkhead Boy, Thursdays. Lots of interesting content, not just speculating on players that aren't joining us. CSCs, special guests, special features. Going to be awesome. Okay, but as for tonight, we are done. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to David in KL.
How's that?
Jesus.
Jerry in Singapore.
It wasn't a surprise that David picked the number 6 for a score, was it? He just that one straight out there. Yeah. Yes, I'll hope you enjoy the drink along, boys. As I say, I might join, but
I'll have a brilliant.
Looking forward to the weekend. Thank you.
Make sure, Jerry, you film with your phone sideways. Not
sideways,
like
yeah. And I'm allowed to use YouTube at the same time. I'm filming like that.
Well, as long as you're not live streaming here. No, but yeah, we look forward to seeing your pics and your vids. And if you can join us at some stage, that would be awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Will do, if I can.
So I'll make sure you've got the link. And Paul, as ever, stalwart, 7 out of 10.
Easy.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
I enjoy it, Jerry. We all wish we were in your shoes. So, yeah, make the most of it. Precious time, especially when we're not living on the same piece of land. Yeah, same to everyone in the comments that's joining us. Enjoy the match wherever you are. If you are lucky enough to be going to the game, give an extra cheer for the boys that are tucked around the world, and boys and girls tucked around the world not able to be there, unfortunately.
That young couple that I met from Perth that were in the club a few weeks ago, was it Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan and Holly.
He was in quick saying any chance I can go to Flag Day, Jerry. So he's using a couple of the tickets for Flag Day. So him and Holly, they're going to Euros.
Yeah, they've done a fair amount of travel, so they must be going. Life must be pretty well for them. I haven't seen them for a while, but hopefully they might be.
We're still broadcasting here, gentlemen. So this sounds like a conversation we could have after we're off the air. Okay, see you at either the drink along or the Monday show where we can.
Seatbelts on.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Say hail, hail. God bless.